Just even the stretch. We're going through a little bit of a tough stretch here, obviously. Bemidji into, last weekend. I didn't think necessarily Friday we played that well. Certainly losing by a number of goals, never that great. But even the next night, right? Like up 3-0, credit to them to battle it back. But it was kind of how they came back. A lot of our mistakes we talk about, they're very self-inflicted. Whether it's poor angle or poor turnover or whatever it is, we seem to get in our own way a little bit. And just, talking inside our locker room and stuff like that, for us to ultimately get to where we want to go at the end of the year and win a championship, play in the national tournament, it's just got to be a greater understanding of we need to manage pucks. We need to kind of just play the same way that we played initially to get to have success. Certainly Saturday night, couple forecheck goals, transition goal, and then the first goal again. It's like turnovers happen, but it's just kind of the understanding of when and where you can turn pucks over, and then if we do turn it over, how is our structure around that? And that seems to be a continuous thing that we're trying to work on is, if we do have a mistake, we should have layers. We should have the ability to play around it. Their fourth goal is a great example of, kind of an initial off angle into another initial off angle into giving up time and space in zone, and then it turns into an entry. And, really they just got that opportunity off of it. So all things being said, looking forward to having a good week. Obviously, continue to drill habits, details, work on the things that I think within our structure that can improve. And like I said, angling and good stick position, staying inside your check, initiating contact first and then staying inside of that. I think those are big things that if we can kind of, have a continuation of that throughout our lineup and we play like that consistently, then within our structure, I think we can be a really good team. I think, obviously, frustration with the coaching staff. I'm sure, players are frustrated too, right? It's they care. It's they want to do well. But really, like I said, when you look internally, you look inside of it, how we give stuff up. To us, certainly as a coaching staff, it's our belief that there's small mistakes that if we can correct, we don't really give up a ton. Kind of the interesting thing on it is we're kind of playing on the inverse of the beginning of the year where, we're giving up 15 shots and we can't score and we're losing, 2-1 and stuff like that. Whereas now we've had, a few games where we've scored 4-5 goals, but we're also giving up a large amount. So it's just, like I said, it's just the continuation of details and habits. College players, pro players, whatever it is, as you go up and you climb the levels, it's just a higher percent of guys that have those habits, have those abilities to kind of stay inside their checks and good stick position and, contact and stuff like that. And if we, like I said, I'm a firm believer that if we can continually grow our habits and that improves, then I think a lot of the structure and a lot of those mistakes go away because guys are just simply doing their job. Well, I think just, going back to the initial beginning of when Alex was here. Alex has always been an extremely bought-in player, does it the right way, certainly was, certainly deserves that A. Does it the right way, plays hard. And same thing for him. When he's committed to the details and he plays his role and he plays to the structure that, our expectation is, he's very successful. And you even see now, he's gaining some confidence with the puck and he's, making some plays and getting pucks under sticks and pulling and shooting. So extremely happy for him. He's the type of player right now that he's doing everything he can, and that's kind of what we, that's what we want. That's as a leader, you don't always have to be the most vocal guy, but you can be a guy that leads on the ice, and his play is certainly doing that, and he's rewarding of that assistant captain role that he recently picked up. When the going is getting tough, and right now, it's tough for us. We're going through some stuff, but that's what we're looking to. We're looking for the elevation of players within this time. And Alex is certainly doing that. And like you said, it doesn't necessarily matter who he's playing with right now. He's driving. good teams, and we saw this last year, is the more guys that get on board and drive and play that consistent way, like Alex, and we're going to have a good chance of winning games. Now, like I said, there's a lot to do in terms of getting into that situation where we can put ourselves in that situation, but Alex is certainly putting his foot forward and helping us kind of realize, okay, like this is not realize, but this is how we need to play. This is how more guys need to play consistently for us to be successful. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing for Steven is he's, probably, if not the best player, one of the best players in the league. And teams are certainly going after him. We've seen this now for multiple weeks where they're all over him, as they should be. I mean, we've had conversations with him. Hey, like, this is what we would do. This is, how we would play against you. The biggest thing for his maturity, and like I said, we're open with this with our conversations, is use the motivation between the whistles. Like, play hard between the whistles. Like, take advantage of, them doing stuff. Like, maybe they're running out of position to go after you, which means that there's another guy open. Really, it's more about playing in between the whistles and then understanding that, like, their whole job is to do what they're doing. And like I said, it's not a 1 week thing where, like Bemidji just went after Steve. It's they're all going after him and they're all doing things to get him off his game. And the more that he plays into it, the more that he's not going to be successful, but ultimately it hurts us. And he understands that. Like, he's, he gets that, and our expectation is that we'll see him being a little bit differently this week. And like I said, it's all been good with Steven. There's nothing bad in that. It's all about growth. It's all about maturity. And I said to him, look, like, him and I have had a conversation. I said, you should be happy that they're trying to do this too, because it means that you mean something. I said, but take a step with your growth, take a step with your maturity, and bury them between the whistles. Score on them, do whatever you have to do, play hard between the whistles. And if they're going to go after you, turn the other cheek, and they're going to start taking penalties. Because a lot of times, like, when it's you see the initial, they do something to him initially. Like, it's not like it's this, like, he's like just going and looking for it. There's something that kind of happens prior to it. But it's just kind of the old adage in hockey, like, someone starts it and then the ref sees the next part of it. And I'm not blaming the refs in that capacity, but it's just a reality. Like, stay away from it. Like, if they're going to come after you, like I said, do it where it hurts. Do it on the score sheet. You have 32 points. You're a super offensive guy, one of the best players in the league. Like, stay in the game. Don't let it bother you, and just continue to drive your play. And then at the end of the day, hopefully, he's in on the offensive scoring, and we're winning games. And to me, and certainly to our guys, that's much more important than, settling a small score after the whistle that puts us down. Well, I think kind of, my initial conversation on this was just habits and details. Like I said, like, a team that plays fast, a team that likes to forecheck a ton, like, you have to be able to play inside your check. And it starts from offensive zone to basically neutral zone, defensive zone transition. That's going to be a big focus this week because, like I said, we do struggle with that. We do struggle staying inside. We do struggle with some initial gap work. And, you give any player time and space, like, they're going to take advantage of that time and space. So eliminate time and space early, initially, manage pucks. And once again, I think if we can do that, then regardless of who we're playing, we're going to have success. But if we go the other way where we, give up time and space, don't play inside our checks, just like any other team, like, we're going to struggle. And with a team like Ferris that competes extremely hard, that plays really fast, similar to Augustana, similar to Bemidji, similar to Mankato, and anyone else, like, those small habits and details have to be 100% because that's what they do that makes them successful, and we have to be able to combat that with what makes us successful. First and foremost, like, kind of worrying about, I guess, other teams right now, we have to continue to work on ourselves. Being on this a couple times, like, I really believe that our team identity and what we're trying to accomplish, you can basically play anybody and not necessarily need to change your game if you are dictating the way you want to play. And I think first and foremost, that's got to be what we're committed to. Now we understand that, they're going to play hard and we understand that they're going to compete. But first and foremost, that should be what we're trying to do. That should be what we're trying to accomplish. And really, like I talk about the self-infliction that we place on ourselves. Well, we want to inflict our identity and our pace and our hardness on them, and then force them to be in a situation where they're on their heels. And if we can consistently do that, like I said, forming the identity or continuing to drive what our identity needs to be successful, I really like our team, and we can play anybody. So Ferris, like I said, I know what they're going to be like. Obviously Coach Down is an unreal coach, and they're playing for him. They've had that surge. But really this time of the year with home ice on the line, and national tournament berth on the line and stuff like that, you should really expect to get every team's best. Like unless a team is way out of it and has nothing to play for, we're not going to play a team that isn't going to give their best because they have everything on the line, just like we do.